Hey everyone, it's Rich Bennett. Can you believe it? The show is turning 10 this year. I am so grateful for each and every one of you who've tuned in, shared an episode, or even joined the conversation over the years. You're the reason that this podcast has grown into what it is today. Together, we've shared laughs, tears, and moments that truly matter. So I want to thank you for being part of this journey. Let's make the next 10 years even better.
Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch affairs.
It's probably the least sexy part of organizing. It's okay. No. The truth is,
I have two returning guests, Hillary and Bethany, from Sincerely Divorced, and they brought on two people with them, and, well, we're just going to be talking to find out what's going on, because when you guys came on the first time, you had just started it. Well, maybe for a couple months you had Sincerely Divorced going.
Yeah, it was almost a year. A year. Yeah.
All right. But now you're just, the name is getting out there everywhere. TV, magazines, radio probably, podcasts. I mean, you probably got Brad Pitt or some other people contacting you.
If they are, let me know.
I know. Well, we do have a reality star who
we do have
follows us.
reality
a
star.
couple reality stars follow us. Yeah.
Jax Taylor.
Huh?
Oh, I do like her.
Who's that?
Oh, it's him.
Him?
Yeah.
Who's
He's part of the Vanderpump Rules empire.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah.
I had to Google him.
I thought you were
but
talking about the singer girl.
Oh. No.
Hmm?
And a dance mom.
Oh, yeah,
Dance
Dance Mom. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was us.
We can't remember
A dance mom? Oh,
A dance mom follows us.
My kids are obsessed with that show.
Really.
Yeah.
We can. Someone had to let us know, because we didn't know. We're not big reality TV watchers, so that's part of the problem. But other people that we know have seen this, and they bring it to our attention, and we're very humbled by it, but just glad it can be a resource. I think it just goes to the universality of what we're really trying to do by reframe the narrative.
There's a reality show about dance moms?
Oh my gosh, yes. It's
Right.
What the hell?
It's been around a long time.
Now I know I don't watch TV a lot. And never mind. I don't even want to. Well, I'm sure I know what it is about dance moms.
Because it's like a subculture in and of itself. Like having a mom, being a mom, or even a dad. I mean, it could be dance dads, really. It's like dance parents.
Right.
Because if your kid is in a competitive dance environment, meaning not just a recreational class for fun, but really preparing them for potentially being professional dancers. Mm-hmm. There's a ton of competitions. There's costumes. There's makeup. There are solo dances, choreography, right. And who gets more time, who's positioned where. There's just so many nuances, and some people get really wrapped up in it because in their minds the stakes are super high, and maybe they are really super high. I was only an adjacent dance mom,
right?
So but I could see how it could become that way, with so many competitions. People are traveling, they drive across country to go to competitions, live stream competitions.
Pageants, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We had the gymnastics moms. That was the gym moms.
There's a reality show for everything nowadays, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Truly.
The last thing I remember close to what you're saying with dance moms was the Honey Boo Boo thing.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about Honey Boo Boo.
How she's doing.
Did she dance?
Why
was
she was always into pageants.
She wasn't.
She
was?
Yeah, she did.
She did when she was really little.
She was a pageant kid, yeah.
I think that's how they discovered her, right?
Yeah.
Through the pageants.
Yeah.
Honey Boo Boo.
All right. So if my niece is listening to this, please don't even think about trying to get on Dance Moms, because you'll just ruin my niece, and that better not. Your daughter. Never mind.
That show is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. Maybe you guys should start a reality show.
She could film it
I'm
in my
up for
house.
it.
We are game. We are completely game.
The
If
real
anyone's
house,
listening.
the real. We're not housewives.
Yeah.
Divorced. Divorced.
Ex-spouses.
There you go.
Ex-housewives of Harford County.
Right.
God.
I mean, we have talked about like how cool it would be to have like a mom union. I guess you could have a dad union too,
Yes.
right? Like
no, I'm
just
starting a mom union.
Yeah, mom union. Like just everybody buys a townhouse in like one strip, and like you just like it's like your village. You just like help each
That's
other raise
what-
the kids.
A
Me
mom
and, me and
what?
Bray.
Um,
Like a
Mom
commune,
union.
but a mom union.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just a
okay.
bunch of single moms. We all live on the same piece of land.
Yeah.
We got our different little houses.
So a
and
cult.
kind of.
Yeah, I mean, basically.
I mean,
But we're in charge.
yeah, and
It would
we
be a
get to like
well-run
help each
cult.
other because there's so much support in community. Hope and support in community.
All right. You and Morgan have known each other for a while, haven't you?
A little bit.
Like over a year.
That's it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, God, this is scary.
Yeah, so Morgan is actually, okay, so when Bethany and I started, and I think we talked about this a little bit on the last podcast, when her and I started and we were like, let's just start a support group and see what happens. One of the first things that we did was host a like navigating the holidays webinar, and we just like threw it out in some Facebook groups, and you know, we didn't know what we were doing. We just posted it on Meetup, and we were sitting in her kitchen, like ready to do it because we had notes and like we had all these like, you know, these like research points that we were going to share. And we're like, it's okay if just one person shows up. And that one person was Morgan.
It's me.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and
Share your perspective, Morgan.
My perspective was. So my therapist had seen it in like Bel Air Moms or something, and
Yeah.
she sent it to me. She's like, "Look at this! You should join." Because I didn't really know a lot of people around here, and I was like, "Yeah, no, that's like not my thing. Like, no." But she's like, "You don't have to talk. Just just be a silent listener." And I was like, "Okay, I'll do it to make you happy." So I sign on. Fashionably late, like 5 minutes late on purpose, because I was like, I don't want to be the first person there. I don't want to have to like interact with anybody if I'm the first person there. Like, I want to go in
You don't want to
silent.
look like you're
I
excited
just
to
wanna,
be there, right?
Exactly. I just want to sneak in and be silent. So I sign on 5 minutes late, and I'm like, this is perfect. It's fine. I'm just, I'm so brave. And I get on, my camera's not on, and it's just Hillary and Bethany, and I'm like,
and we're like eager beavers.
I know. We're like,
what is happening? Because I was supposed to be
You thought it was over
on
already,
here with
right?
other people
Right.
that were going to talk and not me. So now I'm going to like have to turn my camera on and interact. But it ended up being great.
Intervention at first?
I don't know
You know
what
what's
I
funny?
was
I
getting
remember when
myself
she turned
into.
that
I was
camera
just
on, we were like,
shit.
oh, she doesn't want to be here. It's okay, though. We're going to be so enthusiastic. We're going to bring her in. Yeah.
She's gonna want to stay.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, here I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, a year later.
Yep.
Now you want to know who's known each other a long time, like Matt.
You and Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt and I were talking before, because he said he worked with you at Towson. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, how did Bethany convince you into coming into the group?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. She
Very
did. It was
convincing.
very convincing. Hey, you want to come? Sure. There's alcohol. So I was like, sure, I'll be there. So we've known each other for what, 12 years?
Going
11?
on,
Going on 12 years.
13 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a long time. I was just coming out of got remarried when I met
yes.
you.
Yep.
And then we worked together for almost 9 years or something.
Yeah,
like
well,
that.
we did. And I think what really bonded us together, because it's like beyond just like working together, just because we were in different like divisions, but we were both in a leadership class at the university that prepares like young leaders, and the class met like over the course of a academic year, and we met like once a month, and we had like overnight retreat sort of like activities, but
Right.
we learned all about like the interworkings of the university and how to lead, and we learned from other leaders and so on and so forth. So we spent a lot of time together like in that setting. And that really, endeared me to Matt, and, him being so fun and just smart. And, he's this unassuming leader, that really cares deeply for his colleagues, and he wants us all to do well.
Yeah.
And he's very open about that. Like, he doesn't hide that behind, it's like you can tell it's an upfront value of his, to give it to you straight, but also to be very supportive of your work. And so
Thank you.
I agree with that.
He actually asked me a question out there, and I cannot remember, probably because I'm so damn old, that
I didn't say
We didn't
forget
say anything.
things. How is it that we ended up meeting?
Yeah, I did ask that question.
Oh, you know what? I sent you an email. I'm the one, like, often behind the scenes. Like,
Right.
Hillary calls me Norm, like from Cheers. Like,
Nobody she doesn't know.
yeah, well, or there's no one I will reach out. I have no fear about reaching out and getting to know someone. And so I can't remember who told me, but someone was like, have you ever heard of Rich Bennett and his podcast? I was like, no.
So it was for the podcast, not Hartford County Living.
Right, it was for the podcast.
Okay.
And so then I found the form, and I, wrote in,
okay.
and that's how we met.
Okay.
I think it was after a Hartford's Heart magazine.
Yeah, that was in August of last year.
Someone mentioned it, and we were like, let's give it a go, because we want to, we know that this is part of outreach.
Right.
And
And the cool thing about this is that, I'm not going to speak for you, but Morgan met them because of divorce.
Right.
And I've known them, and now divorce is folded into it. So no matter what angle you look at it, it's going to touch somebody in some way, the work that they do. So it's been, for now, we were just talking before, I've been divorced, remarried, and now I'm going through another
geez.
divorce. So it's kind of nice to, come into this, but also having the wisdom of 16 years ago getting divorced and not falling into different
Right.
traps of, what happened back then, and comparing it to now and moving through it now. So talking to different people at the events that they have, or WebEx or Zoom or whatever you want to call it, it's good because the perspectives are different, and it's nice.
And I was just going to say, Matt also, because he when I met him, he had already been divorced, and he and I have kids a similar age, our oldest, or
Right.
our kid, we have kids similar ages.
Because we're really old.
Because we're,
According to Morgan.
I mean,
She won't date anybody over 50. It just broke
Wait,
that.
whoa, no.
Being 52,
No,
it's
remember
horrible.
Hillary said anybody over 45 is up.
Well, that's
Yeah, I
bad
mean-
too.
Yeah, so Hillary's
not
worse.
bad.
Jeez, thanks.
I think I'm a good catch, but it's fine.
you are a good
Okay,
catch.
thanks.
Yeah, you're high.
But not for the
It's
people
just that-
under 50.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so you're good.
I act
So-
like I'm 25 still, so
okay.
We
Well,
think
we
we're
met
25
those
too.
too.
It's fine.
Young at heart. There's nothing wrong with that.
If we didn't have a work history,
Yeah.
it's too complicated at this
No, it's
point.
not.
But I was going to say before we digress, that Matt, because he was navigating single parenthood when I met him, when I started to really contemplate filing for divorce myself in 2021. You probably don't even know this. I don't think I ever told you, but he was one of the models in my mind for okay, this is someone I know who's divorced,
Right.
and who's been a really involved, engaged parent, and he's making it work somehow. And we had never really had a conversation about it, but again, Matt is just a very upfront. What you see, what you get is who he is, and so parts of his life had been shared, and I was like, okay, other people are doing it, because that I think is also one of the big fears when you think that you're at the end of this relationship is what is this even going to look like?
Yeah.
And so having examples of what that is, and really good examples, and then when I finally did, make the decision
I remember
and
that.
shared it with Matt, I mean, he just, gave me the most beautiful response, because, he knows, and he's always like that, other
Right.
adversities that I've faced, he knows the right thing to say, but it was I just felt I could inhale and exhale into him, because he really was there for me, and he was going to get it, and so it's been a journey, and divorce is interesting how it just weaves its way through existing friendships or new friendships, to your point.
All right, so Morgan, are you happy that you were 5 minutes late for that first one?
I guess. I mean,
How many more have you been to since then?
a lot, right? Like, yes, no,
Yeah, she
a
has,
lot.
like,
I've
OG
met a
status.
ton of
Yeah.
Okay.
people.
Yeah, she has OG group status.
So
I
even-
did the same kind of weird thing with the first in-person meetup. I don't think you've ever heard this story. You were meeting at what was it? Z-Vault? Is that the?
Z-Vault.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
parent, or Z-Vault, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll go, maybe I won't. I convinced myself, I'm like, I'll get a coffee and I'll check out the scene. Nobody will know who I am. And if it like feels weird, I'll just leave. So I walked in. It didn't feel weird, but I like saw y'all over there sitting in the corner, and I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it today.
So you left?
So I got my coffee and I left.
No.
Oh my god! And then it was like a couple
know
weeks
this either.
later, you had another one at like coffee, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it this time. I'm gonna actually go in.
I think I remember that because I saw you in line and I was like, Morgan! And like, you weren't escaping that one.
No,
Oh, coffee.
Yeah.
you know, I
Yeah.
had to like dip my toe in the water and.
That's so funny. But we had someone else who was the just one that day.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, when you saw us, I don't know if it was just the two of us, probably like looking
No,
all
somebody
eager.
else was definitely
Okay.
there.
Okay. And that person was the only one that we had. And again, that's why our ethos is really just one. It's like if one person comes, we know that we are doing what we're meant to be doing. You know, that matters to that person. So,
And for those of you listening, apparently being late is a thing of Morgan's because we were waiting for 15 minutes for her to get here before we started.
Oh, it wasn't 15 minutes. It was like
It was like 20.
2. I got you.
I'm sorry. I'm a remote worker. And, you know, at the last minute, I was told I had to be at the hospital at 9 a.m., which was a whole task in and of itself, dealing with my kids.
and she's a data guru.
Yeah.
I know. I got
Yeah.
charts and graphs, so
Like
you, know,
she
you don't want to
dreams
divorce
in
me.
numbers and charts.
What did you just say?
More
Excel
skills.
woman.
Yes. Transferable skills.
Exactly.
you need.
Transferable skills. I'm like, I got a chart. I got a graph for that.
I got receipts.
You know,
Data.
like, I have data.
Any guys, if you,
Stay away.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
I'll be tracking your every
I got a
move.
spreadsheet on that guy. Oh my god!
Morgan, have we ever asked you what's your sign? Your astrological sign?
Aries.
Oh, you just had a birthday.
I
Did
did
we
just
miss
have a
that?
birthday last Thursday.
That
Oh,
tracks.
happy
Yeah.
belated.
Oh, happy belated. Thank
you.
Fiery. Yeah.
Wait, why'd you ask her that?
I just feel like that was like very much an earth sign thing to have all the receipts because Bethany and I are both Virgos and we love receipts.
Earth, and Matt's an earth sign, too.
Yeah, Capricorn.
Okay. Yeah.
You gotta have them.
You gotta have them.
It's logical.
I
What
think
are you,
divorce.
Rich? What are
you?
you?
What?
Your
What's
sign.
your sign?
I'm afraid to say.
Is he like a Leo or something?
No, Gemini.
Okay. I have a,
What? Go
I can
ahead.
relate. No, I mean, I've gotten a little really into astrology.
Okay.
So,
And all Geminis you know are old as shit.
no, I have Gemini and I'm the youngest one here. I'm just saying.
Damn.
Well, you brought it up.
All right, go ahead.
And her
Had to
chart.
correct. Yeah, in my chart, I'm a Gemini moon and a Gemini rising. We're adaptable. That means like we can like shift and adapt in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And we're airy, and it's an air sign, so we can. I mean, Bethany knows I can go all over the place.
Wow, you know all about this.
Yeah.
She's like
Yeah.
ready to whip out those cards and
Oh, she's got like several sets.
You witch.
Really?
And crystals.
into the witchy.
It's a post-divorce hobby of mine.
We call it being woo-woo.
Yeah, you
yeah.
have to come to the woo-woo thing I went to a couple weeks
Woman
ago
in the
at
Woods.
DAS,
Was that it?
with Emily, the Soul Lift.
Okay.
Oh, you
Different than I
know.
thought.
Yes.
Oh,
do you
yeah.
know Emily?
Yeah, Emily's been on here
woo-woo.
before. She's awesome.
I
yeah.
got.
Okay.
Soul.
I met her through Bree, and we went to this.
Oh, you know I'm
the
down.
Little, I can't remember what it's called. Nourish and Connect. It's at DAS.
Yeah, that
once a
sounds-
month, and we were manifesting.
Yeah.
We were.
Hillary,
we
just
were
saying,
in
if
the
you would
woo-woo.
listen to the podcast, you would know this because she's got a commercial on it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we can plug her. She's great. Sound bath. I took.
I'll remember that.
My
I
daughter
got
to a sound
I'm
bath.
receipts. You know, they'll come back up.
I ain't worried about it. You don't keep a spreadsheet like Morgan does.
You don't know that. I didn't say anything about spreadsheets.
I'm just saying.
she's got
I
photographs.
built an app to track
What?
the happenings of my
did?
divorce. Yes.
Literally,
She told us that.
Yes, I have an app.
Yeah.
an act like you built like from the ground up the app.
I mean, I don't know anything about apps, but I used something online to help build it. It was very easy to learn.
Interesting.
Well, what does this app do?
Oh my god.
I can track the things that happen.
Like
Spending,
spending,
pick up times.
Yeah,
right?
it was expenses. It was the visits, if you were late picking up or dropping off.
Oh, okay.
Then anything that happened, I got categories. Was this a violation of a court order? Was this a missed visit? What
okay,
was this?
gotcha.
And then I could graph it all, right? Okay, you were 75 hours late this year.
If you're a podcast host or someone wanting to be interviewed on podcasts as a guest, visit podmatch.com. Podmatch automatically connects ideal podcast guests and hosts together for interviews. We always say it works just like a dating app, but instead of connecting you for dates, it connects you for podcast interviews. Podmatch has connected over 85,000 guests and hosts together for interviews that listeners love, all while saving you countless hours of administrative work through built-in automations. If you're ready to level up your podcast interviews on either side of the mic, start today by visiting podmatch.com.
I thought you meant an app for dating, so you can track to see.
No, but
Like
you
all
never
these
know. You never know. I might need one. I might
maybe
need
we
one.
can talk to her about doing another app.
I might.
She has
need
the
one for
skills.
Absolutely.
that. You got to track it all.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
All right, so since because you guys were on a while ago, you had just started Sincerely Divorced, because you were still debating whether to make it a business nonprofit, or I think I mentioned the nonprofit part, but you are doing it as a business, right? So since that time, how much has changed besides all the appearances and write-ups and everything?
So funny.
I know.
So flattered.
Can I get your autographs when we're done? By the way?
Oh my gosh.
Well, autograph the Baltimore Magazine article.
Yeah. I know she always has a few copies.
I always have a copy. I'm ready to whip it out.
Yeah.
I couldn't find a magazine anywhere.
So I bought
She bought all of them.
You know what? I think we're really we've been working on I don't know what's the word, building relationships with partners, right? So one of the pieces that has always been important to us is connecting the group with resources that we need. So the past year plus has been really spent developing relationships with people like Matt and Morgan, here locally, but also globally, right? So that has been very rewarding work, and that gives us great insight about how to move with Sincerely Divorced. That's really what we pay attention to a lot. Of course, our own sort of inner guides, because we really do like to lead from a place of authenticity. But then it's okay, who are the people we're serving? Because that's a critical part of the work that we do. And so we know from talking to them that they have needs, and now we want to connect them to resources that help meet those needs. And we want to be part of vetting them, because the thing that we know is that going through divorce or just any kind of life transition really truly is overwhelming, and you're just trying to figure out, am I going to be able to get up and put my clothes on properly and look decent to go conduct business or whatever I have to do in my real life, let alone, I need to find a plumber, I need to find this, I need to find I need to find a realtor. So we've been working hard as of late to truly vet resources and develop partnerships with those resources that brings educational content to our community. So we're doing a webinar in a couple of weeks with a forensic accountant that's going to be talking about how to find and get the money you deserve, because sometimes people hide things.
They sure do.
And there's this term called marital waste.
Yeah, is your ex or soon-to-be ex having an affair? Because if they're having an affair and they're spending money on that affair partner...
in your joint account or your shared assets.
Exactly. That's called marital waste. So
They owe
someone
you.
will find it, and then, right, you get that back. Or if you own a business, right, and you want to value your business so that you know what, or value the other person's business so you
Right.
know what kind of size asset you're dealing with. So that's what we've been, like, working on in tangent with, again, continuous community building and figuring out new ways to do that, and new areas to travel. Like, you could talk about Philly, maybe.
Yeah,
That's also been a thing.
We did an event in Philly about a month ago, and we didn't really know what to expect because we just kind of picked a place at random and decided to host it there, and then honestly we threw it together pretty quickly too because we decided in like February, like, let's do an event in Philly in March.
And we think we can do this because we planned commencements for thousands of people
Right.
for years.
Right.
So we're like, an event is like no stress for us, but then anyhow. And Matt drove from Baltimore to
did.
Philly to be there. I just want to shout him out. Okay, go ahead.
Good friend. But it was great. Like we I think we had maybe like 20 or so people. So it was like a group it was a lot of people, but it was enough that I felt like everyone was able to connect with each other. And now we have this like really like cool group of people in Philly that are connected with each other now, and we're like planning our next event. So it's like we have like a sincerely divorced community now, like in Philly, that's like blossoming, and it's just really cool.
And we called it's the No Shame and More Love Party.
Oh, I love that.
Do you love that?
Yeah.
And we're going to have another one in the fall, like in this area. But it's really just to reinforce the idea that divorce is not a shameful experience.
Right.
It doesn't have to be. And with love, and we're talking about platonic love, and love for ourselves, like that's what we want to see more of. And so it just gives us a bigger setting to do that and bring people together that are really, want to amplify that concept. And someone also drove from Cleveland to be there.
Like 8 hours.
At the
Wow.
8 hours to be there. And so it was just beautiful. And we can't wait till the next one.
Now, are you guys still doing them virtually? Because you mentioned globally,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm just thinking people really.
So we do virtual support groups twice a month.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we upped that. I think
Yeah,
that's
Yeah, I
It's
think when you were on
interesting.
before, it was once a month.
So doing virtual support groups twice a month, those are great.
Right.
Again,
We have some regulars.
Yeah, we have some regulars that like we joke about getting them a punch card because they're so good.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can have 8 to 10 people. Sometimes we have 2 people. Even if we have just one. Looking at Morgan,
Yep.
we're gonna do it anyway.
But late.
So we still do that.
5 minutes late, though.
Yeah,
Five.
Five minutes.
Five or
Yeah,
20
exactly.
minutes late. You guys could take a nap by the time she gets here.
And then we do still some some like smaller in person.
Right.
So like the No Shame and More Love. That's a big. That's like balloons and it's more of a large scale. But like we met up at Mucho Gusto in Towson a couple weeks ago, and we're going to meet up at Bordy and later this month, and we're going to do some woo woo stuff, some bowl.
Sound
Oh, Tom
healing.
Bowls?
Yes,
Sound
the
healing.
sound bath. Oh
Yes.
my gosh, it's amazing.
Oh,
You ever done that?
Yes, I have.
Have you done
So
it?
it's, yeah.
Years ago.
Well, we're going to do it again.
It's
I
great.
went to one. I was like enraged by everybody and everything, and
Probably not
I
the
was
best
like,
time to do a sound
yes,
bowl,
I
do sound
went,
healing.
and I was like, I'm like at peace.
Really?
And then my daughter was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel so irritated all the time, and like I'm worried that like I'm gonna ruin my friendships because I'm snapping at people. And I was like, I know just what you need. So I took her to Emily. And she did it, and she was like, "I feel so much better. It's
Gets
amazing.
the bad energy out of your body.
Yes.
It
I know,
releases
it's
the-
like, it's
it may sound
amazing.
weird, but it releases them toxins.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's the thing. I mean, I think taking care of yourself is one of the bigger things, and people forget to do that, especially if you have kids.
Yes.
So, like, Bethany was saying before that I was a single dad. I had supposedly had 50-50 custody every other week, and then after a year or so, it went to 75-25, and then I wound up almost with full custody at one point. But I was always focused on him, on my son,
Right.
and I never took care of myself. And then you would explode, or you would, break down or collapse or whatever it is. And so doing those things that are amazing, the hikes, the whatever it is, the social groups, these are the things to you have to fill yourself. You have to figure out who you are again, because you did marriage the wrong way the first time, okay, and you lost yourself. And so how do you fill yourself up again with who you are? And it's finding the hike, the person, the friend, the platonic love, the whatever it is. Those are the important things. Because if you're not doing that, you're just going to keep crashing. You're going to keep getting into a wrong relationship again. You're going to be in a relationship for the wrong reason again. You just have to figure that out.
And it's like sustaining that too, right? It's not like really a finite journey. And I don't think you were implying that it was finite, but keeping that a priority.
It's hard
because some people it is hard. Some people think, oh, I'm putting myself first, and then you get to where you meet someone, or you get to a point where now you're consumed by something else, and you're not doing the maintenance, right? Like the maintenance required on your car. The community, this kind of community is what we believe is like life maintenance, really. Being a part of it. It's beyond this some finite period of I'm navigating my divorce. This is like a life maintenance.
And I think the key for me that I didn't do last time that I'm doing this time is therapy. I mean, it's extremely important, and I'm speaking on behalf of men, because guys just don't want to do it.
A lot of guys
they don't.
Speak, Matt. Preach.
No, I'm serious. And I have a master's in counseling, and I believe in it. I have this rough outside shell, but inside, I believe it truly works. So I'm going through it now, and I go weekly, and even if it's it's person-centered, so it's just venting, or if it's one time he switches to behavioral, it's time to do these actions and figure out what's going on, and I know the script because I am one, or I was one, so even though I know it, it's still helpful, because with 95% of therapy it is just venting and someone listening to you. 5% is the work. So I think it's the continued work on yourself, and if you're attached to a counselor, they will call you those 2 weeks when you haven't been there and be like, hey, you forgot to work on yourself, even though they don't say that. Hey, you forgot to work on yourself. And then you show up and you work on yourself, and you always feel better 2 or 3 days later. And I was telling Bethany, I'm going through some stuff right now, and I'm having some anxiety, emotional issues and stuff like that. And literally I was talking about it yesterday, and my text message came up, and it was the counselor, and he's like, the therapist, and he's like, hey, when am I going to see you again? I'm like, tomorrow? He's like, no, about Monday. I'm like, okay, sounds good. So I have that to look forward to, because you can only tell friends certain things, if Morgan and I were going through a divorce, I'm going to fall into wanting to talk to her still about my problems if we're still living together, and that's just not appropriate. So you're used to that, but that's giving somebody the ammunition to pull stuff out of you, or to ammo for the divorce, or whatever it is. You just kind of have to stay away from those things.
I just had a guy on that actually does that. He went through a divorce, now he's remarried, but he does the counseling for men, and started a group. And now he's starting a new group where it's faith-based as well, but they're doing a lot of the hiking and everything. And of course, I had to mention you guys. Go ahead.
Thank you.
I had to mention Bethany.
The community
I mentioned
piece,
you both.
The community piece is so valuable. As somebody that doesn't like to put myself out there, I'm so glad that I did, because I would not have gotten through my divorce without everyone I met through Sincerely Divorced, truly. Those are the people who, when I had surgery and couldn't drive, you, Bethany, were like, we got you, make a sign-up genius. And I did, and people, were driving me around. I had my own little driving, exactly. It was great, And, without that,
And everyone is so eager to help each other out in the group. It doesn't matter what is going on. People just want to step up and help, because we all have been on the receiving end of needing help, and we know how uncomfortable that feels, and we just want the community to know that it's like an outpouring of love. It's not a burden, or it's not a and I think that's one of the beauties or one of the beautiful things about this community.
And we see it online too. We went live last night, and we were talking about the most unhinged thing that we did or thought about doing during our divorce, which it's a great
about it.
conversation.
Yeah,
So we
you should check out the post.
Yeah, we posted the question yesterday morning and got like over 100 responses. And then we went live yesterday to talk about it. But in the midst of the conversation, someone said that their divorce was just final yesterday. And she was having a hard time. She's like, I feel sad. And so like I was like, drop everyone on the call, like in the live, drop some hearts, like show her that like she's gonna make it, like whatever. And everyone did. It was just like this like smorgasbord of hearts and like encouraging words. And we see those comments all the time, like conversations between people on posts, on reels. They're sharing something about themselves and somebody else pops in and says, hey man, you're gonna make it, you know, like here's what happened, you know. And it's honestly like it's truly beautiful, like
The most authentic, like genuine people that I've ever met have been through sincerely divorced, and the people going through divorced, honestly, like
we've been through some shit.
we have been, yeah.
And we like
Restored
see
my faith in humanity.
and even, you know, I don't know if you remember our conversation the first time we met. I was just coming from the tattoo parlor, and I'm going through a divorce, and my tattoo is about like my so my tattoo is about my last 14 years. But when I started the tattoo, I wasn't getting divorced, and the idea was being shared with my wife, and she knew that I wanted to be divorced. She wanted to be divorced.
Right.
She didn't say anything to me, and I continued the divorce. I continued the tattoo, and then she started having conversations about the divorce. So I have this $1,500 tattoo that's half of my arm, and it was sticking out, and Morgan was like, oh, what's that? And I was like, well, let me tell you the story about it. And she's like, so my point of this is, even across gender, they're supportive. Yeah. Because she's like, I'm all about women's rights, but that was kind of fucked up, sorry, that this person would not say something to you about your tattoo and blah, 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 blah. So wow, it was very supportive of her. She didn't even know me. Right. You know, and she was okay having that conversation. Yeah. And it made me feel comfortable at that event, and I've been coming to more of them, well, also because of both of them. But it's nice that, and it wasn't a pickup, it wasn't anything, it was more just a genuine
human
experience.
Yeah, connection.
Nice.
Well, it couldn't be a pickup anyway.
I just got my first tattoo.
Yeah, I was too old for. I was too old. What was that?
Was I telling you how I wanted to get a tattoo?
Yeah.
I got it.
You did?
I did.
When did you get it?
Like a month ago.
Oh my god, that's so exciting.
I love it.
Big,
I already have an
small?
appointment for my second one
There
because
you go.
my kids knew I was getting the tattoo, and they were like, is it about us? What's it about? And I was like, you'll see. No. And then they were like, it's not about us.
I know, rude.
I know. So they were all upset. I was
Say
like,
the
fine,
next
okay,
one
I'll get
won't
another
be.
one.
Yeah.
You're like, I gave you life.
I know, isn't that
Exactly.
enough?
How about that should be.
I gave you life, but
Yeah,
I'll
but
get
that
the
would be a
next
fun
one because
meetup,
it was
though.
fun.
I'm afraid to do
really
it.
Meet up at a tattoo
Because now
party.
now I'm like,
I know
kind of
you've had a
obsessed with it.
tattoo person on your podcast.
I got a few.
You got a few, yeah.
There's a tattoo parlor over in Middle River that I go to. I can't think of the name of it, but the tattoo artist, her name is Rosie, and it's a all women's owned business.
Right.
And you have to get buzzed in, and then they all have their own private rooms and everything, and it's very secure and stuff like that, and it's pretty cool. But I
Next
kind
meetup.
of
Oh my gosh, we totally
slid into there, and I love her, and she did a bunch of sessions with me. So, and it's like, and for me, that's
write that down.
and you have tattoos,
Yeah.
so it's therapeutic for me. So while they were doing this, so as I was saying, I wasn't done with the tattoo, and I went in, I'm like, look, I'm having some problems. Like, we're not done with this, and this is what's going on in my life. And she's like, well, let's have a conversation about how we can change the bottom half of it. And it was just really nice. So I can get you the name of the tattoo artist.
Thank you.
Her name is Rosie.
Rosie.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't. If you get a tattoo you want to get rid of, don't pour acid on it.
No, I'm not. I don't get rid
I
of
had a
all
buddy
any
of
of
mine
them.
do that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, when I was in the Corps, he didn't like it, so he poured. I mean, he got rid of the tattoo, but
And like part of his arm too.
yeah, you left a pretty good mark there. You know, but, so, how many people are actually in the group now? Do you know?
Across all our platforms, well, across our public platforms, we have over 100,000.
What?
Yep.
Actually, over 110,000.
Oh yeah.
Oh, on social media. you
Yeah,
thought.
yeah.
those
But in our
Man, that's pretty strong, though. Holy cow!
15 months.
yeah,
Damn.
it's crazy. And then we have like a private Facebook group that's more, there's a lot more interaction like amongst like group members that has almost 1,000. So.
All right, so have you guys got the equipment to record virtually yet? I know you meet virtually, but do you have the headphones and everything?
No.
Why not?
I know you did tell us about this.
Yes, you guys need to get on other podcasts. I mean, especially now, 110.
I know.
We were on another one.
No, I don't mean locally.
No,
it wasn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. Dimming the Gaslight.
Okay.
Hey, shout out friends.
Yeah.
Dimming the
Mac and
Gaslight.
Phil.
Yeah, Mac and Phil. That was like
Okay.
a couple months ago, and we talked to their whole platform, which is great. It's about like narcissism, and so
Shoot,
we
get me on
talked.
that.
We got into like some of the details of the narcissistic aspects of our marriages, but they're great, and we've been doing Instagram lives.
Yeah,
with people.
Yeah, we're like really pushing ourselves to be more creative with our content, and we know that involves video because it's not like our favorite thing. So that's where the Instagram lives
Right,
come
but
in.
we're appearing on other people's channels.
We are.
Like we're doing. We did a live a couple weeks ago, and we're doing one again with Carrie, life coach. She's out of North Carolina.
Yeah, and we have
Not Carrie Schmidt.
No,
Okay.
I don't know. She's got a longer last name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then
And
we'll
then,
be. Oh, go
and then we have another live next week too with Rob.
Yeah.
I think he's
Blindsided by divorce.
Yeah, is he New York or New Jersey?
He's somewhere. He's in New
Okay.
York.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's
then
awesome.
Dr.
Yeah.
Debbie Silber, that one's coming up in June. So these people, they reach out to us, and ask if we want to do it. So that's, we're really trying to do well, on those opportunities and then moving
I'm
into.
proud of you guys. You guys
know,
are
that's
kicking
great.
ass.
Oh, thank you.
And it's so helpful, like you were saying, connecting the community with vetted resources, because one of the things I noticed, it's like you start following on social media a couple of like divorce pages, and then you get like the coaches and everybody like coming at you. Like the same thing like happens when you have babies and follow the parenting pages, and it's like the weight loss people are coming at you. Lose the baby weight. Like it was the same thing. And I'm like, who are these people? It's like exploitative feeling. So and I can see how people would fall into that trap. Like, oh, they can help me, and then you like go to their pages and they want like a lot of money for their services. That's actually why I developed my own app, because I kept seeing like a couple people like, oh, you need divorce documentation, court documentation, and follow this plan or like sign up for this. And I was like, looking, I'm like, I'm not paying $200, whatever, $300 for somebody else's spreadsheet. Like, I'm a data analyst, I know spreadsheets. So I started with my spreadsheet, and I was like, I can make an app. But like it's just
Yeah, it is, because there are-
you don't know who's really, because I've joined like some of the webinars that people are like, you're gonna learn X, Y, and Z, and then I get through it and I'm like, I just paid $25 and I learned like absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Half of it was a sales pitch, like
Yeah.
buy this,
Yep.
buy that.
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
trying
And when
to sell
people
you
are
another
going through
$1,000
divorce,
worth of
like,
stuff.
sorry, divorce is expensive.
Right.
People don't have the extra.
And that's really like
Cash.
why we feel really strongly about like doing it for free. Why we've basically spent our savings, to like make this happen, because divorce is expensive. We're not going to charge people, to get resources or be connected. We want it to be free. We want it to be accessible.
That's what you have sponsors for.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but there are accounts out there like in this divorce space that, are like, we have these like trusted resources, but really it's anybody can pay in to be that resource.
Just buying ad space, essentially.
Yeah, they're buying ad space and they're like framing it as, but so they have like 12 realtors. Well, that's like a Google search to me. Like if you're going to give me 12 trusted people, then in the same space, that makes that just, you're creating more work, because now I got to go through the 12 of them. Where our model that we're working towards is we have a go-to person, and that is the person we trust. That is the person who we know is going to like point people in the right direction, even if she's in Maryland, but she knows people in Colorado and other places. And but right, and there's no cost involved in us, referring to her or anything like that, or for our members. Because a lot of people like to prey on the vulnerability that we all experience in this, whether it's emotional or, something else.
All right. So I heard your stories before, but both of you. All right, where do we want to start with this one? What led to the divorce, or some of the scary things that's happened afterwards? Besides what the hell, the kink
Starting to
time?
lead to.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
This could be a whole podcast in and of itself.
I know.
In and of
They both have
itself.
good stories.
All right,
Yeah.
I mean, Morgan, do you want Matt to go first? It's
can
probably
go,
going to
yeah.
take you 5 minutes to think of something.
So I mean, I'll
'cause
talk
you're probably
about
gonna be late.
my first.
Which he's
I'll
an
talk
expert.
about.
Yeah, he's an
I'll talk about
expert.
my first divorce.
First marriage? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was. I got married probably. My son's 21 right now, so I got married 22 years ago to my first wife. She was just out of college. She was 24 and I was 30. So she was young. She just got out of grad school. She had, she came to me like on our first at our wedding evening night, and she was like, "Listen, I want to have a kid, and I want to have a kid within a year, and you need to be aligned with that, or we're kind of like that was."
This was on your.
This is like in
similar...
this is like hindsight. Like maybe I shouldn't have done that, right? But I would do it all over again because my son is amazing.
Right, yeah.
And he's,
Yeah.
So on literally 2 days after
You
our
were
first
peer pressured?
a day before our first anniversary, she gave birth to my son.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so literally, like, we didn't have our first anniversary because she was in the hospital. So she had a 4th degree episiotomy, like all these things, like, was really bad. And this is where the problem started. Like, she wasn't able to like produce milk, like those kind of
Right.
things. She got a little bit depressed. And then we just kind of like never like fixed things.
Yeah.
So it was like 2.5, 3 years of things going on. And then my secretary at work was like, "Hey," I was like, "What?" And the person that I was married to lived we lived together. My secretary lived in another city, like 20 miles away, and she's like, "What kind of car does your wife drive?" I'm like, "Excuse me?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's I have my vacation, but I'm looking out my back door, and I think like she's at this guy's house behind me." And
Oh my god.
and I'm like, what? Yeah. So then I did some investigation and research and stuff like that, and it was all totally denied, and it's fine. Like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, it's not the point anymore. But it ended up, we tried to patch it up by going to couples counseling, which I don't recommend, because it just, one blame always goes on one person, depending on how the therapist is. Or one person does all the work, the other one doesn't do anything. It has to be, they both have to want to do it. So we wound up getting divorced.
After how many years?
3. So I remember it was probably one of the most devastating things that ever occurred in my life. Was sitting with my 4-year-old son on his bed, or 4.5, and sitting and having a conversation with him about mommy leaving the house.
Right.
And he looked at me and said, "You're not supposed to. We're supposed to be a family. Like, you're not supposed to do this." And I can remember him like saying that, and he turned to her and was like, "Why?" And she had like no answer. And to this day, he still doesn't know how, why, whatever. So one of the things, you're supposed to co-parent. You're supposed to do all these things. None of that ever happened. So I was like 4 or so years later, I met my current wife, who's absolutely wonderful. And she helped me with like everything that I needed. Like she was a perfect spouse. Like with being able to like help me with. At one point I was rolling quarters and nickels and dimes to like try to figure out how to pay for groceries and things like that. It was that bad. And then she came into my life and befriended my son first as a 5-year-old. That's great. And then it was incredible. Yeah. So that was a big help, but trying to co-parent with somebody that doesn't want to co-parent is really, really, really bad and really hard. So in hindsight, I wish co-parenting was a little easier or better, to a point where the co-parent was so non-existent that my son is now in college for 4 years. I've spoken to her once over email in 4 years, and we take care of everything. We pay for his college, we pay for his medical, we pay for everything, sports, whatever. Like, we take care of everything. So and when we got our divorce, it was 50-50. So like if she bought a cup of coffee for him, I would pay the $1.50 out of the $3 and send it to her. So everything was 50-50. We would hand each other receipts, or she would give me receipts. I'd give her receipts. I would sit down, and if my receipts were $300 and hers were $200, I'd give her $50, or she would give me $50. So that's kind of, and we were real honest. So we were real honest with everything, and it was really good. But then it came to a point where we just had control of everything, and then started claiming on taxes and stuff like that, instead of flipping years. And she's got Easter and I got Thanksgiving, and it was 50-50. I got him on the 4th of July, she's got him on the 5th of July. His birthday's on the 4th of July. So it was like that structured, and we did it outside of court, where we had the Excel document, like, you're going to get this, and I'm going to get this, and I'll have this bed, and you'll have this, and we're going to split the house, and you're going to get this. And so for me, it's the easy, clean break. And not helping your spouse sign for another apartment, or not helping your spouse get a lease for a car, or whatever, things like that, because that keeps you like entwined with that person, and you need to break that. So what was clean is that I broke all of that, and we did it amicably. It was difficult, but we didn't have any money. So to get lawyers, we couldn't. Yeah. So that's kind of like the story. And then, being a single dad every other week for a year or so. Hard. And then, I think one of the funniest conversations ever was like my current wife, who I'm about to get divorced to. She was about to move into my apartment at the time. And I sat my son down and said, listen, Becky is going to come and live with us. And he's like, what bedroom is she going to sleep in? And I'm like, well, mine. He's like, okay, that's good. So it's just cute, like the angle and the perception that the kids have during this. And I think my point, the importance of this point, is that I will always have given him the positive outlook, or as much as I possibly can, about his mom. I will never talk bad, never bash, never did anything. And me raising a young man, I'm hoping that he treats women like that for the rest of his life. Yes. And that's been really important to me in that. And he's been, he asked me, I told him about what's going on with my spouse now, and he's like asking me like, how you doing, and those kind of things. And
how old is he now?
He's 21. So he's graduating from college right now. So, but he's starting his life, and I want him to have all the skills and everything. Right. And he's had blowouts with his mom, where he's come to my house, upset and everything. I'm like, well, how did you speak to her? And he's like, well, I yelled at her and blah, blah. No, you need to go back to your mom. She's my ex-wife. I don't want anything to do with her. But you need to go back to her, and you need to speak to her like she's your mom, and go apologize and these kind of things. Now, she'll never know that I've had that conversation with him. That's not the point.
Well, if she listens.
Right. Well, she probably wouldn't. But my point is, like, I've had that conversation with him, and I gave him a couple days, and he went and apologized. So these are the conversations I'm hoping that the other side would always have is co-parenting, but it doesn't. But I would always want to hold up my side of the bargain of what co-parenting is supposed to look like. Yes. I'm going to take my kid for this week. This is where I'm going. This is what our divorce agreement means. Here's where we're going. Here's the mileage. Here's what's going on. Here's my receipts. Blah, 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 blah. That's what we agreed on. I would leave it at that. And it's about having integrity in the agreement. Yes. And it's about making sure that you're not belittling or slandering or just smearing the other person, because it makes it 100 times worse. And you hope that other person doesn't do that back to you. I think now...
Kids remember that stuff.
Right. Yes. And I don't think he would ever know that I would... I don't think he's ever known, like, he's ever seen me, like, do anything. Yeah. Which I think... took a lot out of me.
A lot of self-control.
Yeah, a lot. And I don't have a filter.
You're listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. We'll be right back. I've got to tell you about something that's seriously impressive. My good friend Chris recently tried M-Sculpt Neo at Living Well Healthcare in Elkton, and the results, absolutely incredible. I'm talking visible muscle tone and fat reduction, all without stepping foot into a gym. M-Sculpt Neo is a non-invasive body contouring treatment that builds muscle and burns fat at the same time. It uses advanced technology to give you the equivalent of 20,000 crunches or squats in one session. You heard me right, 20,000. Living Well Healthcare in Elkton isn't just another wellness center. It's run by Dr. William Clifford, who's been helping people feel and move better for decades. If you're tired of working out without seeing results, or just want a kickstart to your fitness goals, this is the move. Check them out at livingwellhealthcareelkton.com. Again, that's livingwellhealthcareelkton.com. And tell them Rich and Chris sent you.
So many people on the outside that haven't been through it don't understand. They're like, well, he's doing that, so why don't you do X, Y, Z? Why are you doing this?
Right.
Why are you getting a birthday gift, a Christmas gift? He didn't get you anything. I'm like, it's not for me. It's for the kids.
Because they need to understand.
And at the end of the day, I still have to live with myself, right?
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And I'm raising kids that, not for the relationship now, which is obviously important, but like that want to be around me and spend time with me when they have the choice.
Yeah.
And how you act now is what, like you said, they're going to remember, and that's going to influence whether or not they want to be around you when they're adults.
And you know, and I see it now, and exactly what you're saying. He wants to spend time with me.
Yeah.
Right.
He doesn't want to go back there. He wants to be around this side of the family. You know, in the 4 years that he's been in college, I think she's been to the university once to visit him. Like, these are the things
Is
that
she coming to commencement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have to figure out how to get more tickets. But good thing I'm in charge of it.
I was going to say, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah. So Morgan, you're 100% correct in that. It's like, you know, and it's the role modeling. Because your kids, you know, you're teaching your kids to, no matter what the situation is, you're teaching the kids to, dad's is a good person, could be a good person to you. We didn't work, right?
Yep.
But we can now, this is what gift giving is, this is what it looks like, you know.
Exactly.
And it's
And
just because
even-
I have a bad relationship doesn't mean you do.
Exactly.
Right.
And even they'll be like, because they don't have the strongest relationship because of things that have happened. And they'll say, well, why are we doing that? I'm like, because he's your dad, and we show your dad respect because he's your dad. We show everybody respect. Like, you
Right.
don't have to like people, but you have to respect them. And this is just what you do.
Yep.
Your turn, Morgan.
My turn. So it's interesting because, you know, the quickness with which you guys kind of moved through your relationship was exactly how mine went. Like, I was in my pretty young 20s when I met my ex. He's like 7 years older than me. I didn't like him at first, but eventually he wore me down. He wore me down, which in hindsight is kind of a red flag.
Really.
And everything happened like very quickly. It was like, move in, get engaged, get married within a year of being engaged,
Jesus.
had a baby.
You a narcissist? Because this sounds
I don't
like
know.
love bombing. It sounds like new supply, all that stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I plead the fifth.
Okay.
So, yeah, I had a baby like a month before our first anniversary.
Wow, we're right on there.
Yep. And it was like, there wasn't really, you know, a choice in the matter. It was like, this is what we're doing. And then
What?
I had, you know, my second child is 2 years after the first one. They're 2 years apart. And then kind of, I was so consumed with all of that, and I was doing everything, you know, working full time, taking care of the kids. And when the dust kind of started to settle after my second baby was born, and then I had a lot of medical issues, I got diagnosed with some chronic illnesses, and I was like, the dust is settling, and it's like, what the hell just happened the last, you know, 5 or 6 years? Like, what? And what is going on? And there were red flags from day one, and in hindsight, it's like, I never should have gotten married. Like a month before my wedding, I was like, this is not right. On my wedding day, I was like,
It's happened to me.
this is
Forgotten
not,
hives.
I should not be doing this. And but it's like everything's
Set.
Like, how can I go to my parents, who kind of already didn't really like this person, and be like, hi,
You just paid for all of this.
the $80,000 wedding you've just planned, like, it's off. So I kind of, I was young and was like, well, it's not going to be that bad forever. Like, things will get better, and they don't get better. So I stayed for a long time, and things just kind of got progressively worse. And then kind of around like COVID time, I introduced like, we need help. Like, should we go to like couples counseling? He didn't want to do it. So I was like, okay. I still stayed for another couple years. So it all kind of came to a head. Like, things were bad. They were bad. But I had surgery in April 2023, my second back surgery, and I was in the hospital, and I woke up from the surgery. I couldn't walk. I had to have a second like emergency surgery 3 days later. And the way he was treating me when I was, in a hospital bed after having 2 surgeries, like freaking out about not being able to walk, was just like, I have to do so. Like, I knew I had to do something already, but I was like, this is like the straw that broke the camel's back. And he had pretty much isolated me from my family and friends. So I hadn't talked to my parents in like the better part of 10 years. And I was like, I don't have, resources to get a divorce. Like, at the time I was like talking with SARC Legal Services, like Hartford County Bar Foundation. I'm like, how am I going to do this? So I stayed because I didn't know how to leave. And I called my mom up and I was like, I need help. Like, I need to leave, but like, I can't. And she was like on a plane the next day and was like, we'll help you, whatever you need.
So you weren't even from here?
No, I'm from New Hampshire. Yeah. So my family is up in New Hampshire. So yeah.
But he's from here.
He's from
so
here.
So he pretty much like isolated her from where she was from to be like in his home field advantage.
Exactly.
So to speak.
Exactly. So, yeah, it was pretty crazy. The divorce process was not fun at all because, the bad stuff doesn't really stop when you get divorced. It in some ways it changes, but it gets worse in some ways too. And then the whole co-parenting thing is just a nightmare. Like, you cannot co-parent with somebody that's hell-bent on counter-parenting.
Right. Yep.
But
do you guys still stay in touch?
I mean, we are court-ordered to communicate through an app, which I do my part in the communications, but most of my messages, go
Well, your kids are young, too.
unread.
So
Yes, they are. Yeah. So mine are almost 9 and 11. Yeah. So we have to communicate. But, it's a situation if we're in person. Like, I stay over here. I stay away because if I get near, like, he was making comments in front of the kids and starting arguments, and I'm just not going to put my kids in that position. So it's awkward, and I feel bad that they can't have a normal relationship because I don't hold, like, I don't, I'm not seeking revenge. Like, I don't hold any ill will or negative feelings. It just is what it is. Like, it's over for me for the most part. So I have no problem, if we could be, next to each other at events. But it just got to the point where I'm like, it's better for the kids that I just stay over here. And they won't really even interact with me either because they know it produces a reaction and they don't want to deal with it. So I'm just like, I'll say hi quickly if it's his time and I kind of leave. Whereas, if it's my time and we're at an event, I encourage him. I'm like, Dad's over there, go say hi. Or, you want to play with Dad, go for, like, it's no big deal to me. It is what it is. Because, again, for me, it's about the kids and what the kids want and need. It's not about what I want or need.
You're modeling for them too, really,
exactly.
like, because conflict is just a way, like, it's going to happen in life, right? It happens at work.
Exactly.
It'll happen between siblings. And so you're modeling really a way to build that skill of how do I still coexist with somebody without it being, on fire all the time.
Just to add to what you're saying, I said I met my current wife after this, and I remember when she moved in, she was making comments about, like, the stuff that, like, it's about the kids is the point that I'm trying to make. But for me, it was about the kid, but it was because of my guilt of the divorce. So I was buying, I would go into a furniture store and be like, what kind of bed you want? And then it was like this giant effing bunk bed that had a staircase with a full-size bed underneath, and he played on it, and I'm like, it was $3,000, and now I'm in credit card debt, but this kid has to have it. He had to have all these things. Like, I just, like, I had so much guilt that I bought him so much stuff and paid so much attention to him all the time, where I had to have another, like, caring human tell me, yo, you got to back this up because your kid is going to be a effing terror in, like, 3 months.
I gave my kids, like, a 1 year. And it wasn't the guilt of the divorce. Like, we kind of sat them down, and they kind of knew it was coming.
Right.
And they had their own things with him, and so they were just kind of neutral, and it was just kind of like, we can't be the best parents to you if we live together. That was it. Right. So it wasn't the guilt over that as much, because I think there was relief in that they were going to be with me in the interim, at least, because they were mostly with me throughout the divorce process. But it was the guilt that I stayed so long, because I stayed so long for the kids.
Right.
And then I realized towards the end that they were being harmed in the process. Yep. And I was like, how was all of this stuff, and more stuff kind of came out like afterwards, how was all this kind of going on? And I had no idea. So I was feeling guilty that, I should have left like 3 or 4 years ago. And my therapist was like, you got to get out of this.
When the kids see you upset, it trickles down to them as well.
Yeah.
I'll give you. Can I talk about you?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So and Hillary texted me this morning.
I did. I said.
And so you can see that more from the outside on how you're affected by the divorce, either guilt or whatever it is. And sometimes, I knew she was going through a divorce at that time, but like we worked really closely together for a week or so at a time at some stints. And at this one point, I looked at her and I could see through her. Like, she looked like a zombie, and she wasn't like taking care of herself, and she was just moving to the next event, to the next room, to whatever it is, probably just doing whatever she needed to do for her kids. I'm just talking.
No,
was she taking care of herself? I'm not sure. You can speak on this in a second. But from the outside, like, no, she didn't look like it. It was that who said tunnel vision?
Tunnel vision.
Yeah. It was like, this is my mission, and like and from the outside, she's a zombie.
Yeah.
And I wanted so much to like say something, but I didn't want to like talk about it like at work and stuff like that. But she like was pale and like just
gosh.
a lot. But we talked about this.
No, we did.
And then you were like, that's exactly what it was like.
Yeah.
That
a
was
lot of people don't realize when you have that. I mean, I call it tunnel vision, because when you have tunnel vision, that you're like that. You don't see anything else going on around you.
Nope. No.
And it does show.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It
go ahead.
totally does. The stress, like, I remember, like, towards the end, I was like, I don't even recognize myself when I look in the mirror. Like, I like did not look well, and then after, it's like I'm like a whole new person, really.
Yeah,
like not being in
that
environment.
The person that came and was coerced to coming to that holiday session to like when everything was final, I was like, you are an entirely different person.
And other people like say the same thing, and it's like it feels good, because I'm like, I mean, I don't know who I was like.
And from January to February of this year, I lost 40 pounds going through this. Yeah, just.
Oh, so not on purpose. Damn.
No, it just falls off.
Well, and also what's interesting is, Matt, when you were talking about how you saw me at that point, divorce wasn't even on the radar. It was just like, I was just in such it was just a bad marriage.
She's married.
I was just married, essentially.
to him.
Wow.
Yeah. And like, towards the end, it got really bad. But like, just over the years, like now, of course, looking back with hindsight, it was just like so much of my personality had gotten eroded over the years of just trying to just stay, just to make it work, keep the peace. And I mean, and it's, some of it was I own a lot of it because I wasn't forceful enough in saying like what I wanted or what I needed, but nobody really teaches you how to do that.
And it must have been so bad for someone who's a colleague that sees you once in a while, but not a great friend.
Yeah.
For that person to see that and to recognize that, how bad does that have to be?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Sorry to like
No.
trigger you
Yeah,
again for it or whatever, but I just
I think it's a great
Takes such a toll on your health and your just physical state, everything, mental state, everything.
Because we talked about that too. Like when we were doing commencement together, we were a little
Aggressive.
what would you say, Matt? Aggressive?
I'm aggressive, so
yeah,
you're
that's true.
not
You're probably
bordering
not,
me,
like-
but you're highly assertive with no filters.
We were just like a lot of things that we were fixated on were things that like weren't like the cap decorations. We were like cap police, literally.
It didn't really matter.
It doesn't matter, right? But we had in our head, we're like, no more than 1 or 2 stoles. No, decorations may not be more than 1 inch above the mortar board. Like we went in. Yeah, no,
And I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. But really looking back, that was like there was some channeling of some like unhappiness in other areas.
Our marriages were so
And like
out of control.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes,
That was
like,
like a
So
way
how
to
do you
get
get
You
control?
can control
Yeah.
something else.
Exactly, at work. And what was so interesting about like what Matt's talking about with Hillary is like it was literally like a month ago that Matt was like, you're like, it was like he was meeting Hillary for the first time, like really meeting Hillary for the first time because, you know, for the bulk of the years that he's known her, you know, she, you know, has been going through some things, you know, like you said, like I just look right through you, kind of, you know, but now he like sees her in like full Technicolor, which I just
The
love.
sparkle in her eyes,
Yeah,
like those kind of
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
No, serious.
Give
And it was
you
at
a
the
hard
Philly
time and
event.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and that conversation happened at the Philly event, and I can see like when I spoke to you or whatever it was a couple of years ago. Obviously, we've been talking and friends since then, but that. And it's not like a figurative thing. Like you can see that sparkle, like the glow, the posture.
You feel a lot better now too. don't you?
She looks like she's proud. She look, you know, those kind of things, and that did not zombie is how I describe it. No offense.
No, I mean
it's
none
so
taken,
real.
but it's
so
real.
real.
Like
That's the divorce glow up we talk about
is,
too. Like
yeah.
when you get to the other side and you finally are like not the zombie. That's why we
Yes.
try to celebrate that.
Yeah.
Because it's rough.
Yeah, it is.
It is rough.
Something you mentioned earlier, and I hope you don't mind me asking this,
for
but your health. How's your health now?
It's better, a lot better. Mental health, which I'm an open book, is so much better. Like when I was in my marriage, I was on all these different medications. I was told, oh, you have treatment-resistant depression. And I have my one therapist who I met kind of later, like right before my divorce, or when I filed, and she's like, you don't have treatment-resistant depression. I was like, she's like, you're in a bad marriage. And I was like, lady, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, I did not believe her.
Wow.
But it's like, once I was out of that situation and living on my own, it was like off the medications. Like, I was so much better off mentally. Physically, I mean, I got issues, you know. A month after I got out of the hospital for the 2 back surgeries where I decided I was getting divorced, I spent like a month in patient rehab figuring out how to walk again. I got rear-ended and had to have, so I've had 2 neck surgeries since then.
Lord.
So that's like an ongoing struggle. But for the most part, yeah, like I'm great, you know. Nothing's better than having freedom and only having to deal with that type of person when you absolutely have to.
Right.
But yeah.
it's real.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Even us old people realize that.
But, you know, from the person that was like, I can't go through a divorce, I can't do this, like, I am not strong enough, I don't know, I can't make it on my own, to literally having 4 spine surgeries and going through a divorce.
4?
But
Yeah.
it takes more strength and energy to hold on to the old stuff.
Oh,
than
absolutely.
than
Like,
to-
it is easier
Yeah.
when you let go of
Yeah.
that. It is, like, I'm like, it's easier on my own. You know, I got rid of my other child, like the most taxing child, you know?
200 pounds.
I used to
200
say when I got divorced from my first wife, I was
Exactly.
like, man, I just lost 175 pounds, 40 of me and
Yeah.
130 of her, and it was like, I used to say that. I'm like,
And that's like the first thing I tell people, and they're like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm like, you will find a way. You can do it.
Yeah.
And like, you will be so much better
I
off
know how.
on the other side.
Contacts and
divorced.
shit.
Exactly. Get your,
Perfect
plug. Community. It's true.
It's a
so
no-brainer.
true.
That's what you need, though. Like, and I'm always surprised the irony that 1 out of 2 marriages end in divorce, yet because no one talks about it, when you're going through it, it feels like you're the only one going through it, you know, and it's like, no, probably 3 people next to you are going through the same thing. Well, 2 people, I guess, stats if there's 4. Anyway, not really great with that.
And so many stories are very much the same. Like to the point I'm like, do these people like have a playbook? Like,
No, I say that all the time with 2 of my really good friends because we all have very similar divorce stories and are in similar co-parenting situations. And we always joke, we're like, it's the same playbook, just different flavors. They just all took
Yes.
very different flavor routes, but it's the
It's
same.
all like the same
and similar
storyline.
threads,
Similar
like
threads.
we find in the support when we do our support group meetings, like whether it's like gambling or cocaine or all addiction, all
there's all
kinds
types
of
of addictions.
threads, and it's fascinating. Like people again across all ages, races, countries, we see these same themes emerge from the same playbook. It is really-
and genders, because after I went through what I went through, I was like, men are evil. Don't even come near me. Don't breathe air with me. But through Sincerely Divorced, I have met some men who have been on the other side where when I first met them, I was like, no, that guy, no. And then I, have interacted with their exes not knowing, and I'm like, then I hear his side and I'm like, wait a minute. And I see the receipts and I'm like, I'm not like pro girl, like I'm a girl's girl, but I'm not so quick to be like, I'm on Team Woman, because I've seen some stuff.
Yeah.
I
and
just want to know
on the
why,
other
when you
side,
said
for
all
real.
men are evil and you made the cross sign,
Stay
you were
away.
pointing at Matt.
I mean, all y'all. Okay,
Did you notice
I'll do another side. Okay, yeah.
No, don't point at me.
there's plenty of people out there. It's
Yeah, I was
fine.
gonna
No,
say.
Matt's a great guy. Matt is a
He
great
is,
guy.
but that's true. It's like equal opportunity jerks.
Yeah.
Yes,
and-
it really is. It truly is.
And that's why we are like intentionally inclusive. And we've had people like couples, ex-couple or whatever, like people trying to thwart somebody else's reputation in the group. Like someone contacted us on Facebook. At one
We're
point,
probably
it was like,
talking about the same person. I think
you don't want to have him in your
he's
group.
toxic.
He's horrible. He's toxic. He's da-da-da-da.
Oh my God,
And then
he's
the more
great.
we learn, because first of all,
truly-
we were like, so we're not going to police that. Like,
Right.
we don't ask people to bring references before they join, and well, can you let me know if he's going to be at events? Like, no, we can't.
Also, like,
But-
if you're co-parenting and he's at an event, chances are the kids
You're-
will
yeah.
right.
yeah,
Right.
but yeah, it was total character assassination, and as we got to know, because he presented very differently. But again, we're all meeting for the first time. We're all going through some stuff, so you don't know what you're going to get. But over time, it's clear that like she's the narcissist in
Yes,
this
very
relationship,
clear.
and because he's like. Doesn't badmouth her. Doesn't
No, not at all.
he's very.
It's all about his kids.
Yeah, so it is. You can't make assumptions.
Right.
And just going back to the gender thing, and my observations of going to these different events is that they're very organic in the way they occur. So the first event I went to, there was like 3 guys, and like tons of women, and a bar full of women that had nothing to do with your event. And then the second event that I went to was all guys, and one, not counting the 2 of you, like one woman.
Is that Morgan?
No, it's just the woman from Cleveland. I think it was.
And we had Tay. Can't forget Tay.
Yeah. So it was like you never know what type of person, who, gender, whatever it is going to show up, and you just got to go with the flow or leave with your
Well,
coffee.
I remember the first event that there was a guy at. I was like, what is going on? The vibes are off. Like, I did not sign up for this, but that like so speaks to like the healing journey.
Yeah. Oh,
too.
I know.
You know,
People
like,
were horrified.
I know.
That a guy
like,
showed up?
yes.
What the hell?
They really were. They were like triggered.
They were.
There were a couple people texted us and they were like, they're like, it's okay now because he was okay, but like when he first showed up, we were very triggered and we were like, shit, like.
I know. We wanted him to come too, but everyone's schedules are complicated.
Yeah.
But he held his own that day.
Yeah, he did.
And I think he knew.
It's such like a process because at the beginning, again, it's like you bring your own stuff
Baggage
into it, and
Perceptions.
it's hard not to. But throughout the process, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Like, I'm healing from my own stuff, and I'm moving on from, the earlies. Because I feel like the early days, it was like we were all getting together and we're, man hating. And then the men show up and you're like, what's going on? What? Like, we can't man hate.
We have
and
a
he's
divorce
there.
growth mindset.
But now it's like I've kind of moved away. Like, that is not helpful to me any longer. And I don't like, I get kind of tired of it. I'm like, I can't, like,
growing.
you're new in the process. Like, I want to help you and I will help anybody, but I'm also like, I can't be centered on, like, my life can't be centered on that type of situation anymore. Cause I'm over here now.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry you're over there, but you'll get over here.
Right. And that's why we try to stay positive. Like, our content, like, we never want to, really, we are, like, intentionally not going down the you're a jerk mode. I mean, we have our reels are, funny and sarcastic and that kind of thing. But we just try to stay away from bashing, bashing.
Exactly.
It's like a poor use of energy.
And it keeps you stuck.
It really does.
If you have a negative mindset.
Yeah.
Keep that
And you
positive
have to
mindset.
move
You're going to get
on.
more accomplished. You're going to help a lot more people. And you're going to change people.
You're going to try.
And
You're
it
doing
was
for the better.
Yes.
Yes.
From like meeting some of the guys in the group. Not that I'm like interested, but that I was like, oh, there are good, decent, genuine guys out there. Maybe I'll get on the Facebook dating.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a different story.
And there are
okay?
women who are jerks.
Whole other conversation.
But-
Absolutely.
About all of them.
Yeah. Not all of them, but yeah. So.
It's equal opportunity.
Equal opportunity jerks and equal
Exactly.
opportunity friends.
Right.
For sure.
Bethany and I are going to write a book on the most horrible dates that you have been on, right?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like,
can
remember
all
the
contribute.
chicken soup?
Yes.
Soul
This
books?
would be
And, like,
horrible
we need,
dates
like,
for
the
the soul.
divorce and the dating version.
We're working on, but we are working on a book.
We are.
Well, no, forget the book thing for a minute. I mean, no, keep working on the book.
Forget that.
But no, this, what you just said about the dating thing,
It's crazy.
It's
I think that's
wild.
the next podcast.
Oh
Bring
my
some
gosh,
people on
yes.
and talk
I got
about-
stories.
I got 100.
I got
Dating
stories.
while-
I got
you know,
stories.
I got
dude.
screenshots.
Dating
I
while-
have
Yes.
a whole album on my phone.
Me
What?
too.
Wait,
We have,
what?
yeah, like your
I
dating.
keep receipts. I'm the data analyst, right? I've got all the
I
data.
also have them too because there's just so
It's
many
so
out
funny,
there.
and you guys just got to show people.
Oh, I'll make sure I had. That's going to have to be all.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be videotaped.
Yeah, I got some
Mascot.
crazy
I don't have. I
stories.
feel like I don't have as much
I got some crazy
here,
stories.
but there are some stories.
There's some
stories.
There's some good dating stories, I'm sure, and there's
And
some
I've not even
scary
been on
kink con
any dates.
stories.
It's true.
I know the range of things.
Oh
It's-
God! Wait, so you are working the book? You say you're working on the book?
I'm not
are.
working on dating. I'm actually actively anti-dating right now.
Okay.
But that's because I'm so focused on Sincerely Divorced. Truly,
Oh, no,
I have tunnel
not
vision
missing
in
out
that
on
way.
anyone, trust me.
Yeah, and I know I'm not missing out.
She doesn't
so.
look like a zombie.
Right.
No,
Right.
I'm like, I got to meet someone in the wild, but like, I would have to leave, Hartford County to do that.
But you don't like camouflage?
Yeah, it's just, it's a bit, it's just different. It's different. It's a different flavor.
So how's the book called?
Well, thankfully, we have actually one of our group members. She's a full-time student, and she's got some time on her hands, and so we asked her to help us organize what we want to be our first book, which is going to be like a compilation of encouragement. Sort of like one of those like easy books you can pick up,
Right.
or you could gift somebody.
Yeah.
That's going through divorce. We call them our dear friends. That's how they show up on our platforms. But to organize it, because we've known we wanted to do it, but then we're like, crap, we have to now go through 15 months of content, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is actually a lot.
Yeah.
So she's helping us. Hey, shout out,
She's
Katie.
fresh eyes too.
Yeah, fresh eyes, and so she's helping us go through it, so then we can do like the self-publishing thing through Amazon. Like that's the goal.
KDP.
KDP, yeah. Unless Random House or somebody is listening and they want to.
We can talk about that afterwards.
Okay. We're also doing a column for Hartford County Living.
You are?
Yeah.
I know. That was convincing. I was kind of like, whoop.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going with it. I'm like, no. I have the receipts. I have the receipts. Yeah, we're going to do a column.
I'm glad you guys are doing it.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate the opportunity, but people can write in a question about divorce. It's like Dear Abby, but like Dear Bethany and Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
Dear Sincerely Divorced. And we're going to be answering questions there. So that's that. We're excited about that. So, we're just thrilled to be invited into certain spaces, to spread the mission.
And if you haven't thought about it, I have a funny feeling this time next year you're going to have other chapters opened up. Have you guys thought about that? Especially since you've already been to Philadelphia.
Well, I mean, that's the goal.
Yes,
I mean, we would love to plant
you guys gotta
communities
do that.
all over the
Going to.
country and the
This
world.
time next year, I think you will have some open. And then you're
Manifest
gonna get
it.
a
Let's
bus-
manifest it.
You're going to get a bus wrapped.
You need it, right?
We are adopting a road.
You have so
we are
many
you're
people.
adopting a road. Okay.
Yeah. And people are always like, come to Australia, come to the UK.
Oh, I got something better.
Oh,
yeah.
Don't adopt the road.
Okay. Well, can we
No.
do that too?
Well, you can do that too, but adopt the park. Find out, because Hartford County, you can adopt a park, and a lot of those parks have pavilions where you can do some meetups.
what?
Okay.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah.
The Lions Club, we adopted this park, but the sign fell.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah, rusted off.
We also, through just networking, right? We met a guy who is a financial analyst, but he's a former Cecil County cop. And he gave us the idea. He's like, you know what? Go to police stations with a box of donuts, he said, and a bunch of our cards, because oftentimes the law enforcement and fire, first responders, they deal with a lot of domestic situations.
They do.
Like before you even get to divorce, like they see the people and they're like, and they wish that they could help them in some way, shape, or form.
A lot of them are divorced too.
And they do.
yeah.
They have
Yeah.
resources that they'll hand out. Like here's SARC, here's the resources in the area. So
Yeah.
they've got cards to
Well,
hand out.
we've done 2 deliveries so far, and they were like, they were thrilled. Like we had no idea. It was like, I mean, it didn't occur to us, but it's like, yeah. So to your point about chapters, like there are people in so many different places that we have yet to really truly find.
Well, I've been
And-
watching on your Facebook page that you have different
Chats.
groups, chats
Yeah,
popping up in different areas.
exactly.
That's the first stage of it, so it's good.
This is like our data collection, kind of like now.
Where-
like we ask people, like where do you live? Like if you join our mailing list or something along those lines, so that we have an idea. So like, we have a groundswell of people here. We can go and we can do something. Like I'm going to Pittsburgh this weekend, and I low key thought about like maybe I should just post that I'll be if anyone wants to meet up for coffee, that I'm there.
You should.
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Usually we like to
just don't wear a
I
Ravens
love that
jersey.
you're thinking about that because I kept thinking about that for you guys because I was on like the board of a local moms group. It was like a national thing, but there was like a Falston chapter, a Bel Air, and I was like, that's like the perfect model while you guys are expanding because that's a lot.
And
You
not
have
to
so
tell
many
you-
people
and
in
not
there.
to tell you how to do stuff, but what about EAPs, like at large universities?
we talked about
employee
that.
assistance
Yeah.
programs.
Yeah,
Because
well,
like if
That's another.
I need a lawyer, I
place.
need this, I'm going through divorce, whatever, and they're like, oh, well, why don't you talk?
Well, we're doing a presentation for the USM Professional Development Week
Okay.
in September.
Good. All right,
Yeah,
there
we
you
haven't
go.
even announced that, but yes,
Okay.
because that is our we want to go to like employee benefits and wellness fairs and things like that.
That'd be great. Yeah.
But yeah, the EAP.
We have a lot of big ideas.
There's so much.
I know.
It's exciting. Though.
It is. Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, it's so good, and I get to be with my best friend like every day. Like we look at each other and we're like,
I love you.
Yeah, I told her yesterday. I was like, I don't don't know if I need any other friends in
She
my
did.
life.
She's like, I've reached peak friendship.
I'm like I mean, like the people that I have.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
getting
yeah.
rid of any. I'm not purging.
It's like,
I know. Yeah, exactly. I'm not.
You got Matt over there crying.
No. I'm not purging. If anything, I'm more like this journey has taught me to invest even more in the platonic loves of my life, that exist. Morgan is one of them, Matt is one of them. And like we always joke that like as we rise, it's the people that we love deeply that are going to come along with us. Like Matt knows a lot about contracts. He knows about events. He knows about, it's like, Matt, when we start negotiating something and be like, Matt, we don't know anything about this. Can you please help us?
Yeah, like he used to help us with students in commencement.
Yeah. And we know he's
difficult people.
And all the things we're gonna like go to that reservoir of people, like our friend here, the data analyst.
Data analyst.
When you
Help us
need
develop
it.
an app.
Yeah, exactly. For that. Because like trusting people is hard.
Yeah, it is.
Especially too after divorce. Whether it's a relationship or whether it's just a friendship. It's like I just feel like my picker is off. You always say that sometimes, and it's like, oh wow, maybe my judgment
You need
isn't
to
great.
see somebody through an entire season to like
before you know.
Yeah, before you really know. Yeah. But I'm blessed to have really a true depth of people that I love deeply, and I think that they love me back. And so
I do. I love both of you.
you.
And
So
it's so true though. Like I feel like I'm like, okay, like I went from having 0 friends, maybe 1 here locally. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I have like all these people I've met that I can just call up and be like, let's go get a drink.
And you have a bestie. Like you met your lifelong
I know,
bestie.
my bestie.
Which is wild.
through
yes,
sincerely
Through
divorced.
sincerely divorced. And now they're like inseparable.
Through her, literally, she posted in the group, like, has anyone gone through something like this? And I was like, oh yeah, message me. And then she messaged me and we were talking and I was like, girl, like I thought my situation was bad. Like I can't compare. And then, we just kind of started hanging out. And now,
And now
we
they're
see
like
each
a
other like
duo.
every day.
They are.
Exactly.
Batman and Robin.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. And Matt and I will be friends
What you
forever.
guys
Yeah.
And
started.
our old asses because
Yeah.
we're on our way to
True.
the senior house.
I think
We're 50.
I think it's a little different though for men. I think it's harder, and this is just from my perspective. I've been generalizing, but I think it's harder for men when they're older to make friends and to engage with other men. I don't know what it is. I wish I knew what that is, but I am friends with 50 women and platonic friend, and I have like one guy friend. So it's very, very, very difficult to be able, and I think a lot of it has to do with when you're partnered with somebody, and this is once again generalizing, the women can drive the partner relationships, and the spouse, you're friends with their spouses. And then
In a heteronormative.
Right. And then when the marriage ends, all that could disappear, like the friends of the marriage. And then the men, it's very hard. Like, you got to join a gun club or the Lions Club or like how do you how do you like meet dudes?
I think it's a protective thing.
Okay.
I know because
You get what I'm saying,
I have
though.
a lot more women friends than men friends, and especially since we started covering and talking to people in recovery and talking about mental health and all that. I've made so many more friends that are women, but I feel, and the same with them. I feel like a big brother or a father. Grandfather, okay.
Don't get crazy, Rich.
I know.
No, seriously, but that's the way I feel. I even, when it comes, there's a couple of them in recovery, and I tell them, I say, look, you guys, I look at you guys like a daughter, and I don't want to see anything happen to you. I think that's what it is. I think it's like a protective thing. You feel like a big brother, or father.
Yeah,
That's what it is for me.
I know. I agree with that part, but what
Yeah.
about the other side? Why is
For
it
the
so?
men?
Why is it so hard for?
You know why?
Getting that relationship with males.
Because a lot of men are afraid to open up about things. you and I are not afraid to open up about things. Other men
no.
see that and they think it's a weakness, and it's not. It's a strength.
And I've heard that from some of the guys that I've met in the group. So, like, your experience is not, I don't think, unique, but they've said, you know, it's hard.
Somebody just posted about that.
Yeah,
like,
to meet
to
other guys going through it. And they've even said, I think it's because, you know, we don't, like, put ourselves out there like that.
Right.
A lot
Like
of
women
guys think
do.
it's a sign of weakness if you open up about anything.
And that's just what you're taught culture, like living in society, like, or, okay. You're just kind of wired that way.
Yeah. I mean,
They're out
the
there
reason why I'm saying this,
looking.
I'm here watching Morgan talk, and the way you talked about your friend, who we know you're talking about, you don't want to bring her name up, but it just seems so nice and so easy, and you have this, and I'm like looking at you, yearning for something like that.
Yeah.
You know, so
They're out there.
Yeah,
I know.
you know, and
I've
it's
got
like,
some that are looking too.
So I've done things like join this group, join this cycling club. I just got my concealed license weapon and blah blah blah, and I'm gonna join a gun club, and like I'm trying to figure out how to like fill my bucket with men.
it's weird.
Isn't that we're like it's?
I know. Well, we should do it. We should do a tabling event at a gun club.
Yeah, we
like
should.
Sincerely Divorced, and just have the men like self-identify and be like,
They won't. Yeah,
They won't.
They won't come up to us?
I would love to see what the return rate on that, because if Rich is correct, they're not going to come through. Okay, I'm not talking to you. Like that would kind of be weird. I don't know. That would be a cool thing to like think about.
You gotta like bring some.
There's one in
men
Middle River.
along
There's a
with
gun
you
club
to
in Middle River.
ambassador.
I got to bring a man about because
Yeah.
I feel like
Do you
men
put
are more
yourself-
open
we
to
need like
talk
a
to
plan.
us though.
Yeah.
Do you put yourself out there? Or are you like,
I thought we would
hey,
be
let's
like
go grab a
plant.
drink?
Yeah.
And
No.
people just don't.
I think men, some men will be open to talking to you, but some men still have to put on that masculine thing.
Okay.
Like they're not going to open up about a lot of
to deal
things.
with that.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. So to answer your question, Morgan, what were you saying?
Like, are you putting yourself out there? Like, let's
yes.
go do it.
Yeah,
people
and then
are
it
just
happens
like,
once, and then it's like,
It doesn't happen.
and then
again.
guys just don't have the energy to do it again. Like we're okay
Yes.
watching Netflix, or we're okay just like doing
you gotta,
nothing.
and I
Yeah.
think that's like the key, because even I'm the type of person that I'm like, I wait for other people
Mm-hmm.
to like come to me, and I've had to learn to be like, if you want to go do something, just text somebody and ask them, and 9 times out of 10 they're like, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah.
And I've met up with people I've met through the group, just chatting in messages like, let's go grab a drink, let's go grab dinner, whatever.
Yeah.
Which is uncomfortable for me to want to ask for people because I'm like afraid of rejection, and then it's uncomfortable for me to go like talk one-on-one with like a stranger because I'm like, I'm awkward. But that's how that's how I've like met people, and then I like, you got to keep
Awkward
asking and
rejection.
doing
Yeah.
it because
But I'm
like,
into it. Yeah.
people are also waiting for you
Yes.
Yeah.
to come to them, but it's like the upkeep. But once you get it going,
Yeah,
And-
it's
and
easy,
be-
but
but you got to get it going.
Yeah.
And being like the extrovert and being a people person doing it, like, I have no problem doing that. It's
Yeah.
just the.
But it's like work. It's
If
work.
you do it like over
Yes,
and
it's
over.
work.
Yeah.
at
Maybe
first.
that's it. Maybe you're
But you
got
got to put the work in.
No, I think it needs. It's
needs
it
more.
needs
I
more
just
work,
need to do
and
more,
I don't have the
yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
I don't have the
Like,
energy for it
multiple
because
times.
We'll try
Video
this.
games. We heard like a lot of
yeah.
people get on Discord or
Yeah.
whatever, and they.
yeah.
Well, that was my whole thing with when they started doing trivia. I was like, I don't feel like it. Trivia isn't my thing, but it's like a day. It's Tuesdays, and I don't ever have my kids on Tuesdays, and it's like, I don't want to go. But every week I was like, but just go, because it's like 2 hours of your time, and that's how you're going to develop, friendships with people, is seeing the same people every week.
Are you friends with the guys in your neighborhood where you live?
no, we just built a home in our neighborhood, so we don't know
that's
anybody.
right. That's right.
Yeah, so we don't know anybody.
Okay.
So,
how many neighbors do you have?
I have, well, in the strip I have 5, and
Okay.
I talk to them. I don't, I don't go
Got a
out with
grill?
them. So I have a nice grill. Yeah.
All right, that's
Yeah.
all you got to do, man.
Yeah.
Pull the grill out
Yeah.
to your driveway, start grilling.
Invite
So
I'm serious.
I have like a person to connect you with,
Okay.
perhaps.
It's an action,
Right.
This community in action right now.
No, look, it's
Yes. And then he could connect you with some other people, because he was part of like this Maryland singles thing, and I met some of
I
the
know who you're
people
talking
from
about.
that group, And there was like an older gentleman that I met like on 2 occasions who he's fun. He's super fun and he seems like willing to go out. Like we were at Looney's a couple weeks ago and he was dancing, having a good time. Like he's all about having a good time. So, and I don't know where he lives, but he might be down closer your way. But I'll,
And Matt, we'll talk when we're done.
All right, cool.
Okay, good.
Got you hooked up, brother.
We have a couple connects, but
Yeah.
I love we can do a Sincerely Divorced event at your place.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
Like
I
you
mean,
pull out the grill, and again, not really like not just any randoms, but it would be kind of cool to connect people, right? Like if we say like, hey, we're going to meet up at this is a private event,
like a bring a friend
like
event.
like a bring a friend kind of thing gathering. That would be cool.
And if we adopt a park, I mean,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
especially if it's a park with a pavilion. Granted, they'll probably still want you to rent the pavilion,
yeah.
but still, I mean,
First
park
tips.
clean, or better yet, maybe not. Instead of renting the pavilion, that's the day you schedule a park cleanup.
yeah.
And you have
like a
your folks in
community.
there.
Sincerely Divorced block party. I actually have a great
Yeah.
I have a great neighborhood for that because I live like on this circle. There's a big grassy area in the middle. Like, we don't even need a park. We can just
Go there.
go
is
there
why we
and
need
pretend like
shirts.
we're at a park.
I'm gonna
working
give you
on
some
it.
more notes here in a minute, but I was looking
why
at
we
the
need
time too.
shirts,
So I got one quick question for Morgan.
right.
Because you're 5 minutes late, you didn't want to go to that first virtual thing or the coffee thing and all that.
She's made up for
How
it.
did they convince you to come into this? When they first told you, what was your first
Well,
response?
I think I was like, yeah, sure, sounds fun. This is what I
Huh?
always do. That who knows? Whenever you texted me, if I had been drinking, then I was like, yeah, let's do it. That is like who I am. I'm like, sounds so fun. Everything sounds great. And then I'm like, what did I just sign myself
And
up
wait,
for?
this morning you texted and you said, I'm low-key hoping that this doesn't occur, and you said that?
Well, last night at Hopkins, when I saw you guys, because you messaged me like a week or two ago, like, what's your email address? And I was like, she never emailed me, and maybe it's not happening. And then I was like, I should ask because this thing is happening tomorrow last night. And I was like, I don't want to like draw attention to it. But it's once I get going, it's fine. It's fine.
It's just that initial first step. It's always
Exactly.
what it is. But we're glad you're here.
Right. We knew she'd be a ride or die.
And my whole thing
like,
too lately
she
is
has
like
always
just
been.
step out of your comfort zone because the best things have come from me stepping out of my comfort zone. And that's how you really like grow. That's what I'm learning. Like that's how you grow. Like the woo woo Emily's woo woo event at DOS. Like I wouldn't have gone if Bree didn't drag me along. But I got there and I was like, oh my god, like we're gonna like interact with the other people here and like tell them our manifestations, but like, you just got to put yourself out there. You do.
It's true.
Otherwise, like I'd be sitting at home. If I never, join the
Zoo.
the Zoom, I'd be sitting at home with no friends right now.
Yeah.
No risk, no reward.
Exactly.
And a lot of people think
Exactly.
just stay and suffer for the next 50 years or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
Yeah,
that's kind
no, I
of like
know.
what everyone tells you to essentially do. Oh, marriage is hard. You got to just stick it out. Like,
Yep.
like there's some prize or some like
like you took
Purple
those
Heart medal or
vows
something.
and-
And it's like, no, but it's uncomfortable to think differently, to think, I don't want this anymore.
To bet on an uncertain future.
Right. Right. But
Right, because it's like the devil is
Yeah.
better you think.
better maybe or not than the devil you don't. It's at least less scary to think about the devil because you're like, I know this, like I
Right.
know what to expect, but you got to put yourself out there.
Yeah, because the reward is amazing.
The glow up is real.
And that's what
glow
we
up
try to
is
tell
real.
people. That motive it is because now we can see. Matt's not seeing through
case
you.
study,
He's
yeah.
seeing you for the glorious soul that you are.
Stop.
I said it first. I said it first.
I'm agreeing
The
with her.
living being,
I said it
zombie.
first.
Yes, Matt said it first.
On that
blushing.
note, before I dig
Yeah.
myself deeper, tell everybody the website you have. They can get in touch with you.
SincerelyDivorced.com, and you can find us on Instagram and Facebook. And there's a link to our private group on Facebook, on the Facebook page. So that is a space that we reserve just for people that have been impacted directly by divorce. So there's like no divorce professionals in there. It's just people that are in it or have been in it or are thinking about being in it.
Right. And it may take you a couple times to spell sincerely properly because there's a lot of E's, the R-E thing.
Yeah, we
it gets us
sometimes
tripped
don't.
up all the time.
Did I
So
spell that
just make
right?
sure you're,
Like-
spelling sincere. Yeah. But on our website, sincerelydivorced.com, we have a calendar of events.
And make sure you subscribe too.
Okay.
It's free to subscribe. So we send Hope Notes every Thursday. And I promise it's bite-sized. It's just like little tiny bits of information about either an event, a resource, a funny reel, a good song, just stuff that we've collected from the community or we've put out in the community over the last week. So we don't we promise not to over email you, but we do Hope Notes every Friday.
Hope notes, not hope knots.
Sorry.
Notes,
I lost my word a little bit there, but yeah.
That's all
Hope
right.
Notes.
And the sweet notes you send via mail.
We do. We send our handwritten notes.
Yeah, it was.
That was
you
such
get
a,
yours?
yes, that was such a nice surprise.
Yeah, I got mine.
Oh, you're next.
We've written you though. I was like, Rich, did you
Get
not get
another
one?
one.
I was gonna say you're gonna get another
I
one.
know.
We have upped our game.
I am so
We've upped our
far
game.
behind on my email.
When I first got it, I was like,
No,
did
like a
somebody...
handwritten note, like in the mail.
Oh,
You got that,
I know,
right?
but we've upped our game. We've upped our game. We do. I've been into wax sealing recently.
Yes, that was very nice. I was
you get a
trying not
wax
to
seal?
destroy it.
Okay.
I don't know if I did. 'Cause I wrote it. It
I
may have been a sticker.
Yeah, it was
a sticker. Yeah.
He's
'Cause I'm
thinking
not-
about wax.
Waxing. I'm like, hell no, ain't nobody waxing me, man.
It's actually really good.
What?
Getting waxed, it's fine.
No.
There's no problems.
No.
Look, my eyebrows are great. There's nothing
They
wrong
do
with
look
them.
nice.
They do look nice.
Oh,
Brown.
I'm done. Come on.
Get mine
Manscaped.
done, yeah.
Oh, all right, on that note, God, ladies, Matt, thanks so much, man. Thank y'all.
Thank you,
you,
Rich.
Yeah.
We love you.
God. Thank you for listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something from it as I did. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It helps us reach more listeners and share more incredible stories. Don't forget to connect with us on social media or visit our website at conversationswithrichbennett.com for updates, giveaways, and more. Until next time, take care, be kind, and keep the conversations going. You know, it takes a lot to put a podcast together, and my sponsors help out a lot, but I also have some supporters that actually help me when it comes to the editing software, the hosting, and so forth. There's a lot that goes into putting this together. So I want to thank them. And if you can, please visit their websites, visit their businesses, support them however you can. So please visit the following: Real Life Prosthetics, cutting edge solutions, restoring ability since 2001. Go to reallifeprosthetics.com. Full Circle Boards. Nobody does charcuterie like Full Circle Boards. Visit them at fullcircleboards.com. Sincerely Sawyer Photography. Live in the moment. They'll capture it. Visit them at sincerelysawyer.com.